Okay, so I'll be presenting on Alexander Shulgin phenethylamines and their impact on society. The phenethylamine is a structure that gives rise to a lot of other drugs, typically stimulants, and at times also entheogens or psychedelics. This is the basic structure, and if you've ever seen what amphetamine looks like, it's very close to the structure, and that's a pretty basic one, which is basically Adderall. Looks like. So Shulgin was a chemist, and he had kind of a variety of roles in his industry, because at first he was a biochemist and then later on a pharmacologist, and he discovered 230 psychoactive compounds by playing with the phenethylamine structure. And in doing so, he also wrote a book on these different sorts of chemical compounds. And he has been cited as the godfather of psychedelics just because of he was one of the few people, or one of the first people to kind of pioneer the use of psychedelics in basically like in the therapeutic aspect of it. And so Pichal was one of his books. He wrote it in 1991, and he wrote the book on synthesis regarding the phenethylamine compound, and importantly, he rediscovered MDMA in the sense that he started to use it for therapy before it began to see use as more of a party drug, as well as 2CB, which is a psychedelic compound which is close or analogous almost to mescaline. And he initially had a Schedule I license in order to actually use these drugs, but eventually the DEA actually came to him because of Pichal. So next slide. So his research into the phenethylamine compound actually got him into trouble in the end, because the DEA thought that he was producing cookbooks in order to manufacture Schedule I compounds. So his lab was raided and his license was revoked. The case against him was especially strong because he used more common methods rather than lab grade methods. So it actually seemed to kind of open up the possibility of people making it for themselves, which was actually kind of the purpose of the book. And his legacy actually continues today. MDMA actually recently, earlier this week, was approved for use, for therapeutic use in humans, and even earlier before this, people have been experimenting with MDMA as a therapeutic drug, and it's helped because of its entheogenic properties. It's helped people with PTSD to kind of overcome the trauma that they've had previously. And the 2CB family has also been theorized to have been used as a therapeutic drug. And today also, obviously, MDMA and 2CB are popular in the party scene and in the rave scene. And closing remarks on it is that chemical engineering by itself doesn't really exist in a vacuum. It typically talks to other fields, especially in this case, like the pharmacy field. And I just use this kind of as an example to show how chemical engineering can drastically impact the world, and it's always been a big part of medicine. Yeah, that's pretty much it for this slide.
I have a question.
Yeah.
When you say common methods, do you mean that you can like basically get all the materials from like a supermarket and make the drug? Like Breaking Bad, you know?
There are certain materials which are lab grade, in the sense that you have to purchase them from a lab resource, but a lot of the materials like acetic acid, for example, are available So like the most important precursors that he uses, typically he'll use a precursor that you'd need lab grade for, but it's most of the precursors are heavily watched by the DEA at this point.
Right.
So, similar to the way that marijuana is used for like, pain treatment in certain, I don't know, people with certain patients like with glaucoma or cancer, and being that it's being legalized recreationally as well, do you think that those two drugs, 2CB and MDMA, have the possibility to not only be approved for medicinal purposes but also for recreational purposes?
I think for recreational use, the drugs kind of have a much longer way to go, just because I feel that marijuana has, like, the effects are much less pronounced. I guess it just kind of depends on what types of legislature we have. It's really more of a where will the political sphere end up going, because honestly I can't make a proper conjecture because I don't really know how politics is going to work and how what the attitude towards drugs will be in the future.
It's all politics.
Mm-hmm.
It's all Donald Trump.
All right.